The day unfolded gently over Seoul, as if the sun itself had decided to embrace the city with tenderness. Golden light spilled across the skyline, brushing glass towers and tiled rooftops with warmth. The air smelled faintly of roasted beans and spring blossoms carried by a shy breeze through the open cafes that lined the narrow streets. It was one of those rare afternoons when everything felt both alive and hushed, like time had slowed just enough to let you breathe. Amid the quiet hum of the city, a figure walked alone along a sunlit street. His shadow stretched long behind him, swaying slightly with each step. Dressed in black from head to toe, hood drawn, cap low, he looked both ordinary and impossibly captivating. Even under the brightness of day, there was something about the way he moved, a quiet rhythm that felt almost like a melody lost between sunlight and memory. It was him. Not the global icon. Not the face that filled stadiums and screens. Just Jungkook, the man. The one who sometimes forgot what it meant to exist without expectation, to simply walk without being seen, to feel sunlight without wondering who was watching. The laughter of children echoed faintly from a nearby park, mingling with the sound of a passing bicycle bell. A soft wind tousled his hair. For a moment he looked up at the sky, clear, blue, infinite, and something in him eased. It was strange, he thought, how the world could look so familiar yet feel so distant. Maybe it was because he had changed, or maybe the city had. Either way, every reflection on the shop windows seemed to whisper the same silent question. Do you still know who you are? He paused in front of a glass storefront, catching his own reflection. His eyes met the gaze of the man behind the glass, a face both known and unknown. He looked older, calmer, but lonelier too. He exhaled softly, then turned away. His feet carried him toward an old record store tucked between two cafes, its sun-bleached sign hanging crookedly above the door. The bell jingled faintly as he stepped inside. Dust motes danced in the warm air, illuminated by streaks of sunlight through the blinds. It smelled of vinyl and wood, comforting, nostalgic. And there it was on the wall, an old poster of BTS, edges curling, colors faded. His younger self smiled back at him, bright eyes, blonde hair, a grin that once believed the world could never hurt him. For a long time Jungkook just stood there staring. There was pride in his chest, yes, but also something else, something heavier. The weight of time, the ache of growing up under lights that never turned off. He smiled faintly, but it was tinged with sadness. What he missed wasn't fame or applause. It was the feeling of being understood, without words, without performance. And he knew exactly who had given him that feeling. Jimin. The name echoed quietly inside him like a heartbeat. The memory of his laughter played in his mind, soft, melodic, warm. He remembered the two of them sitting on the dorm rooftop years ago, under a younger sky, when dreams felt so close they could touch them. You know, Kook, Jimin had said back then, voice almost lost to the wind, the world can be cruel sometimes. But promise me, don't ever lose yourself. Those words had stayed. They were like sunlight on a cloudy day, sometimes hidden but always there. And now, as Jungkook stood in the record shop surrounded by ghosts of the past, he realized he had almost forgotten how to keep that promise. He stepped back outside, blinking at the brightness. The sun had climbed higher, painting everything gold. He reached into his pocket, fingers brushing a small black bracelet. A silver charm hung from it, engraved with a single letter, J. His thumb traced it slowly, like a secret prayer. No one else knew the meaning behind it, but to him it was everything. Every time he touched it, he remembered who he was, and who had helped him stay that way. As he continued walking, a soft melody from a street musician drifted through the air. It was tender, familiar, almost like one of their old songs. The sound tugged at something deep inside him. He smiled to himself, unaware of the few people who recognized him but chose to let him be. A girl sitting on a bench looked up from her book, her eyes widening in disbelief when she realized who had just passed. But Jungkook's quiet smile stopped her from saying anything. It was a silent thank you, for seeing him not as an idol but as a person. Then his phone vibrated gently in his pocket. He pulled it out, sunlight glinting on the screen. The message was simple. Have you eaten yet? His heart stilled for half a second. He didn't need to check the name, but he did anyway. Jimin. The world around him faded into soft focus. The chatter, the traffic, even the sunlight seemed to dim. All he could see was the small line of text glowing back at him, and the warmth it carried. He smiled, typing back about 2 seconds later. The reply came. Sim. Want a video call later? His fingers hesitated for only a moment before replying, always. And just like that, the day felt brighter. When he reached home, the afternoon light was spilling lazily through the curtains. He set his jacket aside, let his body relax into the couch. The air smelled faintly of detergent and coffee. He liked that, ordinary, unpretentious. For once, peace didn't need to be silent. It just needed to feel real. Then came the familiar buzz again. Incoming video call, Jiminy. He answered instantly. And there he was, Jimin in soft daylight sitting near his window. His hair glowed like honey in the sun, and his hoodie looked 2 sizes too big, sleeves covering his hands. Hey, he said, smiling so wide his eyes crinkled. Jungkook didn't speak at first. He just looked, letting the moment sink into him. It felt like sunlight finding a place it had missed for too long. You look tired, Jimin murmured, concern lacing his voice. Were you out again? Yeah, Jungkook said quietly. Just walking. Needed some air. Jimin tilted his head, that familiar soft expression curving his lips. You and your walks. Did it help? He nodded slowly. It did. I went by that old record shop near the dorm. The one with the broken sign? Jimin chuckled, instantly remembering. Still broken, Jungkook said, smiling. They laughed together, the sound light and natural. We looked so young back then, Jimin said between chuckles. You still do, Jungkook replied without thinking. The words slipped out too easily, carried by something deeper than habit. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was electric, soft, alive. Jimin's eyes flickered, something unspoken shimmering in them. You still say things like that, he whispered. Only when they're true. For a heartbeat, neither of them looked away. The world outside could have stopped spinning and they wouldn't have noticed. You've been quiet lately, Jimin said finally. Are you okay? Jungkook leaned back, sunlight glancing across his cheek. I think I'm learning how to be. Sometimes I forget who I am when everything gets too loud. But today, I remembered. That's good, Jimin said softly. That's all I want. For you to find yourself even when the world tries to take you away. They sat like that for a long while, not needing to fill the silence. The connection between them hummed gently through the screen, 2 souls resting in the same sunlight. Then Jungkook smiled. You still haven't eaten, huh? I was waiting for you, Jimin teased, grinning. You always use me as an excuse. Always, Jimin said, that one word carrying far too much meaning. They both laughed again, eating together even though miles apart. The sight was almost ordinary, 2 men sharing ramen over a video call, but the feeling behind it wasn't. It felt like home. You look good in black, Jimin said suddenly, his tone playful but his eyes soft. You've been stalking me again? Jungkook teased. Do I need to? Jimin smirked. I'd know you anywhere. Jungkook's laughter faded into a quiet smile. Thanks, he said, voice low. For always knowing where I am even when I don't. Jimin's reply came like sunlight through clouds. That's what we do, right? We find each other. They didn't hang up for a long time. The world outside went on. Cars passing, people talking, the city alive in golden light. But inside that call, time stood still. When they finally said goodbye, it wasn't really goodbye. It was a promise, wordless and steady. After the screen dimmed, Jungkook stayed still for a moment, gazing at his reflection in the black glass. The light had shifted. Afternoon had softened into evening. He traced the bracelet on his wrist again, the small silver J, catching the last shimmer of the sun. His lips curved into a peaceful smile. Somewhere across the city, Jimin lay on his couch too, phone still warm in his hand. He whispered softly into the quiet air, "Good afternoon, Kookie." And though Jungkook couldn't hear it, somehow he smiled, his heart responding before his mind could. Outside, the sun continued its slow descent, painting Seoul in hues of honey and rose. It was the kind of day that didn't need fireworks or noise to be unforgettable. Just 2 people under the same sky, remembering how to find each other, again and again.